Embezzlement of local government funds were one of the reasons he brought over 40 to 50 million per each local government is taken out every month. Around the 23 local governments, that's over 33 billion naira over these 3 years of local government funds. Also embezzlement of state funds that has led to non-payment of salaries for a period of over 7 months for state, over 11 months or so for local governments, and the pensioners over 14 to 15 months. And non-performance in so many areas that actually has affected the economy of the state badly, and the people are actually suffering. And other issues that we had to look at, using state funds to shop for political parties to go and, a whole lot of things, misappropriation of funds and all of that. Over 22 billion of the state funds is now under investigation by the EFCC under the guise of security votes, and all of these things. So all of these were brought to my attention, and I looked at it and I felt it was very, very apt. And so I will transmit that accordingly to the governor within a period of 7 days for him to, the process to commence. So these are some of the things that we considered.
Well, Honorable Paul Biam is still with us in the studio. He's the Chairman Ad Hoc Committee on Information, Media and Publicity in the Benue State House of Assembly. We're also being joined now by Honorable Benjamin Adanyi, who is the former majority leader. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Of the Benue State House of Assembly. Well, gentlemen, you're welcome. I should say you're welcome to you, Mr. Benjamin Adanyi.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, because Mr. Paul has been with us already. Just before we went on break, I said that when we come back, we're going to ask you, what are the rules to reconvene, after you have adjourned, especially after the Speaker of the House has adjourned sitting?
We have a standing rule. We are guided by standing rules of the Benue State House of Assembly, the process to adjourn and reconvene. We also have procedures for adjourning the House. Now, the first question I will ask is that, was the House adjourned properly? That is number one. And the second one is that, even if it were not adjourned properly, was the reconvention done procedurally and properly? And I will say...
Now, what are your rules first? Let us know.
Yeah, the rules, but the standing rules of the House says that an adjournment motion could be moved by a member and supported by a majority of the people sitting in plenary. Now, if we are doing this, an adjournment has set dates. The Speaker in plenary unilaterally moved for an adjournment and took a long adjournment without the consent of members and dispatch. Now, the rules of the House state that once a gavel is gone, you can only challenge it by submitting another complaint to the House, which will also be handled by the Speaker. We grudgingly left the House. When we left, you are now taking a recess. You joined the House for 1 month, and there was no genuine reason. On that day, we sought to know the reason and the purpose for why a long adjournment could take place. The Speaker explained that we were also close to taking a recess. And I said, no, this is not a recess. Since you are calling an adjournment, can you give us a time frame that is reasonable? Because we have issues at hand, including a supplementary appropriation bill, which was before us. And this is a very serious state matter that could head in dispensing administration in the state.
So you talked about, just a moment, you talked about the rules for adjournment. You say that, somebody will move and it has to be supported by majority. You allege that it wasn't properly done.
Yes.
What are the rules for reconvening?
Now, reconvening says that you serve a notice. Majority of the people will serve a notice on through the Speaker, and it will get to the clerk of the House, and the clerk will make publication. Now, but again, don't forget.
I'm sorry, again, you have to go through that. You say
majority
of the people, of the members will serve a notice?
Yes, majority of the members will serve a notice.
To the who? To the Speaker?
To the Speaker and the clerk.
To the Speaker and the clerk?
Yes.
And then the clerk will make a notice?
Will make an announcement.
Okay.
Reconvening the House.
Does he need the permission of the...
You have to seek permission. This is my document. So you seek permission from me first.
Come in.
And so
But he's right. You have to take permission.
Yes, you have to take permission from me. This is
okay,
my document.
I'm sorry. Let me just look at your
for now. Can you give me first?
Please, can you let him look at it so you're on the same page?
It is more simple. So there are on page 9 of our standing rules, 11A, and let me, for purpose of clarity, just read this. Whenever the House stands adjourned to a date fixed by order of the House, and it is represented the Speaker by the majority leader or by a petition signed by 1/3 of the members, and the public interest requires that the House should meet on an earlier or a later date or time that on which it stands adjourned, the Speaker may give notice accordingly, and the House shall meet at the time and date.
The Speaker shall give notice.
Yes.
So the Speaker must give notice.
Give notice.
Those are your standing rules.
Yes, I'm also coming.
Are you?
Yeah.
Very correct.
By the provisions,
very,
by the provisions, I'm coming. There are also precedents. There are also conventions of the House and also constitutional provision which override the provisions of this rule, which allows the House to regulate its proceedings. Now, in an event where a Speaker unilaterally adjourned the House, and grudgingly we had made efforts to reconvene the House without him, it means that the Speaker ab initio was biased. But let us not also forget that if the Speaker is not around and 2/3 majority, which the number of 22 is well over and above, wrote the clerk, giving him a 1-week notice on why it was necessary for the House to reconvene. And the clerk, in turn, made it public and made announcements on the radio. We were proper because we have to regulate our proceeding. And the Constitution of Nigeria 1999, as amended, supersedes the standing rules of the House, which was exactly what we did.
Do you agree with him?
No.
Which was exactly
there is no way. I think, well, first of all, I'd like to appreciate you very much for that question. I want to say from the onset that it does appear my colleague is reading the standing rules upside down.
No, he read it.
I read it.
You read it.
Probably he's interpreting it. Okay? He has read it correctly, but he does not understand exactly what is written here. Now, number one, and before I go to that, I want to start with the issue of adjourning the House. Because he made a point here to the effect that the House was unilaterally adjourned. Yes. The procedure for adjourning the House...
Sorry to interrupt you. Was it adjourned, to reconvene the following day, or was it adjourned for recess?
It was adjourned to the 15th of August.
Yeah. On which date?
Yes. It was adjourned to the 15th of August.
So may you tell us the date so that we know the time frame?
I'm coming, please. Let me make my points the way I want to make my points. It is very